Hey guys! So I know I said this would be a segment on polling, but it is requiring a lot of heavy-duty research, so it's going to take a little bit longer than I had originally anticipated, and it will be my next video. So today I wanted to talk about Charlotte. This is so similar to the Milwaukee situation, and even though these stories are so trite, the lies the Black community is telling in the face of the truth are basically identical in all of these stories. So I think it's important that we continue to address this over and over and over again. So let's go through some of the facts. On Tuesday night, 43-year-old Keith Lamont Scott was shot by Officer Brentley Vinson in Charlotte, North Carolina. Both were Black. Charlotte police originally went to look for another suspect, and they saw Keith Lamont Scott get out of and subsequently re-enter his car carrying a gun. So it's an open carry state. This is not a crime. But the police officers approached the vehicle. Then Scott exited the vehicle with the gun. The officers repeatedly ordered him to drop his weapon, which he refused to do, and he was shot. They attempted to revive him, but he died anyway. Scott's family and Black Lives Matter protesters claim that Scott was disabled and was reading a book in the car. This is the account of Scott's brother.
I heard he was sitting in the car waiting for his son.
Yeah, he was waiting on his son to get from school. And the jump out police came out with he didn't have on no uniform to determine he was a police or not. He was an undercover. He just jumped out and yelled gun and shot at him. I think he shot him 4 times. I'm not sure, but he's dead. So.
What? No, I don't. Guys, is there anything we should know? No.
You just know that all white people are fucking devils.
And make sure you air that one.
Air that shit.
Now. Don't take that
all
one.
white cops are fucking devils and white people. Y'all are fucking devils. I don't like none of you motherfuckers.
This is the account of Scott's daughter.
Look, take y'all motherfucking uniforms off, bitch. Take them off. Take them off. Take them the fuck off. What's up? We got guns too, bitch. They shot my daddy. I'm gonna say this one more motherfucking time. My daddy was over there reading a motherfucking book in the car. My daddy's disabled. He can't do shit. They jump out the car and try to break the motherfucking window. My daddy like, what's going on? He put his hands up. These motherfuckers yell, he got a gun. He got it. What motherfucking gun my daddy got, bitch? I'll show you one. So they shot his ass. No, they tased him first, then they shot him 4 motherfucking times in the chest.
Tell me who the fuck locked the cop up and did it.
Cause he didn't do shit.
Didn't lock the motherfucker up right there and made a false report.
Let me ask you a question. I can't hear the man talk.
Hold on for a second, bro. Hold on, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Y'all little crackers know my motherfucking daddy was dead before y'all took him. That's why y'all covered his ass. What the fuck is your ugly ass looking at, you fucking coon? Look at baby D. Still standing up like she can beat some motherfucking body. Bitch, you still be in this neighborhood. The fuck? Yeah, he did. They killed my motherfucking daddy for sitting in that car reading a motherfucking book.
Of course, all the information has yet to come out, but a gun was found on the scene and no book was found. So let's look at what we know about Scott as a man. He was convicted in 2004 of misdemeanor assault with a deadly weapon. This was a plea, so other charges from the same day were dismissed, and they include felony assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, misdemeanor on a child under age 12, and assault on a female. He also had a DUI last year. So this honorable father, just killed for being Black while peacefully reading a book, basically has an attempted murder charge under his belt. That seems super consistent with who he's being portrayed as by the Black community. We also know that he has 7 children and no steady job. I don't know by how many women, but I think it is safe to say that this guy was a stereotypical Black man in that he was recklessly impregnated a bunch of women he was not in a relationship with, only to abandon said children. We all know that over 72% of Black babies are born out of wedlock, and that means absentee fathers. It will come out that he was a deadbeat dad, and I guarantee those kids were supported by welfare programs. I guarantee it. We can also tell that he was a bad father based on the way his daughter is talking. She speaks in such thick Ebonics and has such poor grasp of the English language that she's barely understandable. She's arbitrarily hurling racist insults at Black and white cops alike. She blames them for their social problems. So this martyr of the Black community, despite his criminality, also was a terrible father that was either absent or was barely there, teaching his children that everything that goes wrong in their lives is the fault of the white community. Hypocritically, most of the substantial things that will go wrong in his children's lives will be because they had an absentee father. Even though the officer that shot him was Black and the guy that was killed was clearly a piece of shit, riots broke out involving hundreds of protesters.
Again, we're looking at this video again, and we're still trying to figure out, but CMPD is at least saying that one of their officers was injured. It does look like that person then is clutching at their head and then taken away toward this CAS bus. So this was the height of this riot, not riot.
Just taking cover behind something to conceal myself.
So you're feeling you have to take cover now on the streets, even at this late hour, because what's going on?
I was thrown to the ground earlier. I saw several photographers smacked in the face. My phone was smacked. Someone right now, that sound, I don't know if you can hear it, is kicking a piece of metal down the street towards a car. He kicked it kind of in the air, so it hit the car. I'm passing a smashed window right now. And I can tell you that I saw the Garden Bar and Grill having several windows smashed and people trying to enter. There's someone running down the street right now screaming at the woman, but I can't see what she's running from.
Came in to try to grab those people. Burn up! Burn up! Burn up!
Looks like a well-organized, peaceful protest has occurred last night. Not indiscriminate violence, pointless looting, and general displays of criminality. These are not protesters. These are opportunistic black people that are jonesing for any excuse to steal electronics and shoes, to beat the shit out of people, and to burn businesses to the ground. Since this is the natural disposition of those that Black Lives Matter appeals to, validating this behavior only adds fuel to the fire. Loretta Lynch said yesterday, quote, "These tragic incidents have once again left Americans with feelings of sorrow, anger, and uncertainty. They have once again highlighted, in the most vivid and painful terms, the real divisions that still persist in this nation between law enforcement and communities of color." This is a pitiful and untrue statement that subtly reinforces the violent nature of Black Lives Matter. These protests have highlighted the real divisions that still persist in this nation between law enforcement and community of color. That's what she said. Still persist. Real divisions. That isn't what happened here. We had a violent thug single-handedly escalate a situation with a police officer, then the black police officer act appropriately, and still had resulting riots, motivated by institutional racism. Huh? The government in Black Lives Matter has conflated race and over-policing so much that although this involved 2 black people, they were still able to put it on race. The NAACP president said, quote, "When will our lives truly matter? A black father is dead. There are children tonight who will never see their father again. It clearly appears as if our lives don't matter. We need to change policies. We need to change procedure. We need to hold police accountable. It is a modern-day lynching." So what we have here is the federal government, as well as a respected community leader, telling black communities that white people are still trying to lynch them. Of course, this is going to embolden Black Lives Matter and the racist black people that support them. But perhaps the most influential sanctioning of this despicable racism is, of course, perpetrated by the mainstream media. First of all, they said that there are conflicting stories, which really isn't true. We just know what actually happened, and additionally heard a completely fabricated account by emotional family members.
But I want to talk to you, Minister, about these conflicting reports. Because, as you know, the police say that Keith Scott had a gun and that he didn't comply, and that they asked him several times to drop the gun, and he didn't drop the gun. If that, in fact, was the scenario, does that change your thinking about what happened here?
My thinking has not changed. I think that the police department rushes to judgment. I think that African Americans many times are demonized when in fact they're the victim. And I think that we need to all step back and wait for a complete investigation to really know what happened. I'm really concerned about the fact that Mr. Scott, who had every single day sat at the bus stop and waited for his son. And in fact, he waited for other children when the single parents were not able to pick them up. This was something he did daily. It was known. And all of a sudden, the man who normally sits in a car waiting for his son with a book now has a gun and not a book. It doesn't make any sense to us. But I'm open to whatever the final outcome is once the investigation has been finalized.
Look, police say that they found a gun at the scene. They did not find a book at the scene. But do you not believe them?
I can't at this point. I would love to, because we had a great relationship here in Charlotte. But too often we find now that there's been some fabrications, that there's been some incidents that were not quite factual. And so I am very concerned when things don't seem to line up. And that doesn't mean that it's not true. I just need someone to prove it to me. And I think that we have been too quick to make statements that, as I said before, demonize Mr. Scott. That concerns me.
CNN gave a platform to a Charlotte community leader and minister that claims that we should wait for evidence to come out. All the while, Black Lives Matter is destroying a city and beating the crap out of people. She also said straight up that police planted a gun. A black cop was the shooter, and the police chief is black. Do these idiots seriously think that it is more likely that people from within their own communities have framed them than it is for a bona fide violent criminal that we know for sure has nearly killed at least one person to commit a violent crime? I'm just saying, North Carolina is a battleground state. By heightening racial tensions while reinforcing this narrative that Americans and the police are fundamentally racist, the left is able to better control a voting bloc that Trump is seriously beginning to resonate with. Their plan is to do this while simultaneously reinforcing the other racial narrative, which is that Trump is a racist. This is a leftist-created event. The mainstream media and the federal government have given credence to a transparently racist and violent domestic terrorist organization while fostering racial tensions to the level of combustion. I know that most of the black community likely does not support Black Lives Matter. I'd imagine they're ashamed and embarrassed when black people behave like this and that they claim to represent their race. So I feel the worst for people facepalming right now, like Ben Carson, I'm sure is. But Black Lives Matter wouldn't be a movement with any prominence if there was not a strong following in the black community. And it seems undeniable with these serial riots, despite the truth of a given event, that there is a substantial portion of the black community buying into the leftist narrative that the police are trying to murder them and that every white person is a racist devil. The sad irony of this is that these people are simply useful idiots to the left. And what is a more predominantly white and powerful demographic than wealthy Democratic elites? Black people that follow Black Lives Matter are being totally used and emotionally manipulated by a group of wealthy whites, but are completely convinced that they are virtuous pillars of their communities and trailblazers in a new civil rights era. That is some high-level emotional manipulation. They made them think that it was their idea. This story, like Corinne Gaines, Philando Castile, and Alton Sterling, will simply fade into nothingness as far as the media is concerned when the undeniable truth comes out. By then, people will have lost interest in the story and the damage will already be done. The left wants to capitalize on the reactionary and emotional nature of this part of the black community. And after that initial surge, they're largely useless to the left, except for their power as a voting bloc. But after this election, they really will be useless to the left. Instead of elevating their own community through active fatherhood, education, work, the Black community is choosing to descend into violence and to blame blameless white people for their government dependence, which is a lifestyle of their choosing. Listen to me. America's not a racist country. It isn't. The police are not actively murdering Blacks on sight. And the crime and destitute nature of many Black communities is their own fault. It's their own fault and their own doing. In this matter, white people and the police should apologize for nothing.